If you guys don't want to hear me talk, I'll put a timer so you guys can skip the beginning of the video. Yup, you guessed it. I am back. Now, there's a good reason why I haven't made videos for a while, and it's obviously because I've been busy with high school and other stuff throughout my life. But now, I am back. Also, Merry Christmas to all of you people who don't watch my videos anymore. I mean, 2022 wasn't an amazing year, but it was okay, but I'm not really going to explain why. But I guess I might explain it in a future video because, well, I don't want to waste my time here. But now enough talking. Now, just enjoy the video. Merry Christmas, and I hope all of you people have a happy new year. Oh boy, Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. A film that I used to like, but now it's just something, man. Like, I don't even know anymore. Well, to start off talking about this film, this is a sequel to Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas. The first movie was, really simple and, kind. And it was also in 2D, which had great colors and emotions to the characters. Now, this film, unfortunately, even though it's in 3D, it looks terrible. Even the characters' expressions look bad. Now, there's a lot of things to talk about in this movie, even the animation, because it still looks shit. But first, I'll mention the stories in the film. I mean, you guys know that in the first film, there's only 3 stories, quite simply. Here's just freaking like 5. Yeah, they're just throwing whatever crap makes sense in this film. The first story is just Minnie and Daisy ice skating, and some of you people might think, oh, the story doesn't really seem that bad, just Minnie and Daisy ice skating. But for whatever reason, Daisy just sabotages Minnie, even though it's not even supposed to be in her character to begin with. Then Minnie gets angry too, and they just both started fighting back. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Daisy and Minnie. But in this movie, they're just fighting over each other over ice skating. Like, what? I thought they were friends. That's why I also don't like this movie, because of how mean-spirited some of the characters are. But I'll mention it later. The second story is also bad, but it is still way better than the first story. The second story is obviously focused on Huey, Dewey, and Louie, which guess what? Huey, Dewey, and Louie are annoying in this film, like seriously. Like, I get it, they're just kids, but they're just annoying. And I'm just keep getting sick whenever they just run around and just say stuff.
You may each take one after you eat a hearty and nutritious dinner.
Like, grow up, Jesus! But then Scrooge later comes and visits the boys in the room and tells them that he wasn't on Santa's good list. And since Huey, Dewey, and Louie also weren't good, this means that they were also not on Santa's good list. So, what do? They just mail themselves to the freaking North Pole! Yeah. For some reason, you could just mail yourself to the North Pole in this movie. And then they meet a creepy and terrifying looking Santa Claus in this film. Like, God. Santa Claus looks absolutely awful in this film. Like, Jesus Christ and Mary. What did they do to you? Even the elves look terrifying in this movie. Like, seriously. Like, come on. I know this is direct DVD, but this looks terrifying. But unfortunately for Huey, Dewey, and Louie, even though they helped the elves pack the presents, they still needed to do one thing: get on Santa's good list. But unfortunately for them, they couldn't get the key in time. But surprise, surprise, they managed to finally get into the door so they can go on the nice list. I could already see that the second story was probably the longest out of all of them, but also really frustrating, but at least it was way better than the first one. But also the mailing yourself to the North Pole, like, that's fucking stupid. Why even just include that in the... What? The next story is basically Max bringing his girlfriend to his dad's house. Besides that Max's girlfriend is not even Roxanne. Like, Why? They didn't want to bring back Roxanne, instead just replace her with her? Why? I don't get it. Now, I wish I could talk about more about this story, but most of the story is just a silly pop song that nobody's even just singing it. And guess what? The song is not only awful, but it's straight up literally confusing because, like I mentioned earlier, nobody's even singing it. The fifth story is probably one of the worst out of all of them in this film. Basically, Donald comes home from work and he just wants to relax. Then all of a sudden, Daisy and the boys forced him to go Christmas shopping. And he obviously gets pissed off because, well, Christmas is instantly shoved right into his face. Okay, well, there's a good reason why I don't like this story at all to begin with, and it's obviously not only because of how annoying Huey and Dewey and Louie are, but it's also because Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Daisy are taking Donald to the freaking mall to shop. Just let him relax, Jesus. And also, they're his nephews. I mean, we don't even know who their parents are to begin with. Another reason why I don't like this story is that when Donald walks into this section of weird Christmas animatronics, his nephews just freaking betray him after he destroyed those animatronics. Like, seriously. What? Like, why even do this to your own uncle? Like, he didn't even meant to come in this room in the first place. And then what happens to Donald? That's right, he just gets kicked out by a police officer. Can this film just get even more mean-spirit? Like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, well, surely, let's just hope that the very last story of this film will be better than the previous one. Well, to start off, the story doesn't even start that bad. Like we have Mickey coming home with Christmas decorations, and we also have Pluto being really happy, and we have Pluto just playing tricks with Mickey. Then Mickey starts petting Pluto, you know, it starts really colorful. And then Mickey puts on the Christmas decorations while calling Minnie at the same time. You know, it's just innocent. Until Pluto messes something up. Dang, I didn't expect Pluto to wreck the entire house like that. Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, he's a dog, so that's not really a problem. But for Mickey, you're gonna have to watch the scene that pissed me off, and will probably piss you off too.
Pluto, look at this mess. I had the perfect party, and now it's the perfect disaster. Christmas is ruined. Well, I really hurry. I suppose I can get to St. Knickknack's Mega Mall before closing. Haven't you done enough already? Go to your doghouse. I mean it, Pluto. Get out and stay out. Man's best.
Yep, that's right. You're just gonna be mean-spirit to Pluto. Like, come on, he's just a dog. Dogs don't even understand things. And, you know, he wasn't careful because, well, he's a dog. So why even just be so mean-spirit to your own dog, Mickey? What the fuck is wrong with you? Come on, is there anything good in this? Anything? Well, yes. Now, this is also the part of the review where I would love to talk about the rest of the story in the film, but I feel like that will be wasting my time, so let's just get to my thoughts already. Well, to start off with the positive things in this film, this CGI can be kinda colorful. Even the ending to the fourth story of the film can be quite nice, and so can the beginning of the final story of the film. The parts where Pluto and Mickey miss each other, I would admit, those are really depressing and sad scenes. There's also the scene with Mickey talking to Santa Claus, which is quite nice, which at least this Santa Claus looks okay, well, except the one with the story with Huey, Dewey, and Louie, because that Santa Claus looks fucking terrifying. And finally, there's the ending, which I would admit it is really colorful and really nice and charming, and yeah. Those are pretty much the only positive things about this movie. Now, the rest of the film, it's just, it's bad. Well, to start off, the CG animation is just bad. I mean, we already discussed that. Well, to start off, some of the stories in the film are horribly written, and also don't even make sense sometimes. Like, how can you mail yourself to Santa Claus? Like, what? And how can you even hop on a train that just takes you to the North Pole? Like, how? Yeah, let's also start off with this movie horrible with having Minnie and Daisy fighting over ice skating. And finally, we have the characters. Well, I mean, in this film, some of the characters can be nice, some of them can be, oh god, so annoying. And some of them can be mean-spirited out of nowhere when someone accidentally does something that they didn't even do it on purpose. I guess it shouldn't be too harmful to a Christmas film that's meant for little kids. But the first one was also a Christmas film and that was meant for little kids. And it was in 2D. They've put so much effort and so good animation to the first film because of how much they cared and how much they loved the audience that loved Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and the rest of the other Disney characters. This movie feels like what it is, just a last-minute sequel of the first one. I'm guessing that the reason why they decided to make this movie to begin with, it's because the first movie made a lot of money, so they had to make a sequel of it. Okay, now I think I talked about a lot about this film, but now, let's finally talk about my final conclusion of this film. I guess I would say that the film is better than some of Disney's other movies like Chicken Little and The Wild and even Mulan 2, but there's not really anything else I have to say about it. So overall, this film only gets a 2 out of 10. I mean, this film is bad, but certainly somehow worse than some of Disney's other previous movies. Well, is it okay to show it to kids? Yes. Does it get across any mean-spirited and bad morals? Well, a little debatable, but not that many kids will probably get. And if your kids are really dying to see this movie, I guess you can show them, but for me, I only prefer watching the first movie instead. And that was my review of Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. Did you enjoy it? Well, I hope you did, but, I mean, people don't even watch my videos these days because my channel is dead, obviously. Because it's been such a long time ever since I've made videos, because I've been so busy with high school and other stuff throughout my life. So I hope all of you people had a very nice Christmas. Merry Christmas to all of you people who watched my videos for years, even though you people don't watch my videos anymore. And I also hope you guys have a happy new year.